Hello, fellow educators. Welcome to the 27th episode of Teacher's Tint. Still a place to regain your strength after a long day, week, or maybe semester this 2024. I'm your host, Steve G, sharing this second season of our podcast. Our last episode's topic and the 5 tips discussed brought a lot of interesting reactions from frustrated teachers who are tired of talking to a wall. If you did not get a chance to listen to episode 26, may I suggest you start there and then return to 27, since the 10 overall tips we share are more effective when applied in the order we present them here. Today, we'll dive deeper into the same topic and share 5 more tips to conclude our look of what I think is the highest source of irritability in teachers: feeling like you're not listened to by your students when you talk. Like I mentioned in the last episode, we've all been there and done that when it comes to this. So, this presentation is really for all of us, no matter the grade level we teach. I love repeating myself, said no teacher ever, right? So, let's talk about how not to talk to a wall so that students do follow directions. Part 2. A sixth step to follow is to have each student explain the activity to his or her partner. Since I'm a dual language teacher, I use bilingual pairs, a very useful component of our program. Each member of the pair is identified with a number, 1 or 2, kind of like thing 1 and thing 2. I typically would have all my number 1 students explain the activity to their partners, and then all number 2 students do the same. This technique is highly effective for 2 reasons. You're not the one doing the explaining, for once, and, sadly for us, students are always more likely to listen to their peers than to us teachers. The seventh step for good communication comes when one student asks the fatal question: How? Or what are we supposed to do? Trust me, someone will always ask this question. The way you react to it on the first days of school will establish either an effective pattern or an unhealthy one for the rest of the school year. I know it is very tempting to quickly tell the one student who asks the question so as to move on, but that sends a clear message to students. Hey, let's not listen because he or she will repeat it anyway. What I do is ask, who can tell Fulanito what needs to be done, because I know I'm not saying it again. Some teachers believe this is rather drastic or even aggressive, but please understand that the purpose behind this is to get students to grasp that when an activity is explained, everyone needs to be on board. Otherwise, you'll have to find someone to explain it to you, because I won't. I have a student this year. We'll call him H. He does this every time I explain something. I kindly told him when he asked me for a repetition to ask his bilingual pair for help. After asking his bilingual pair to repeat the whole thing for him on 3 different days, this very frustrated girl told him she was not going to help him any longer if he chose not to listen to me in the first place. When H realized that there were no resources left to help him, he started paying attention to the instructions the first time they were given. An eighth thing to do is to monitor the manner in which students are carrying out the task. If I happen to notice they're doing the assignment wrong, I take them to my small group table to check why. If the problem seems to be a conceptual mistake, we just go over the concept to clarify, but in every case, students have to do the activity again. This is to support what we suggested in step number 3, where we stated, be sure to listen, otherwise you'll have to do it twice. Number 9 is making sure you allow enough time to complete the activity. Depending on the grade level and the time of the day or month or year, certain things might take longer. We don't want to be rushing students, of course, but Be sure to also plan something for those who will finish first. It could be an interesting, lighter activity that might be perceived as a reward, yet is educational. The last step, like with everything, is consistency. Try to repeat the same series of steps in the same manner and format so students can recall it and do it even faster the next time. Consistency also means that if you don't repeat something for one student today, you still won't do it tomorrow, or you won't do it to another student. Children are quick to detect inconsistencies and are discouraged and even angered when they see their teachers acting this way. In conclusion, many teachers are frustrated when they give instructions and their students don't follow them, but hopefully, by keeping in mind these additional 5 suggestions we shared today, we can make sure every student in our classroom listens and complies with the instructions given. These 5 were: make students explain the activity to their partners, refuse to answer if they ask, "What are we doing?" Have them redo the activity if the mistake is due to not listening, allow sufficient time, and be consistent in applying all steps in the same manner each time you give directions. If you want to share your story of ever feeling like talking to a wall, or how things go once you apply these tips in your classroom, please just follow Teachers Tent on Instagram at Teachers Tent and leave your comment or experience. I would just love to get your feedback. In the meantime, please join us in 2 weeks' time for our podcast's 28th episode: What I Wish Non Teachers Knew About Teaching. Have you ever been told after saying you were a teacher, "Hey, it must be nice to be playing with kids all day," or something similarly derogatory of our profession? Next episode will be devoted to what non teachers need to know about our job. So please let me know in advance any ideas you might have on this topic. Please continue suggesting topics you would like to hear about here, as well as sharing Teachers Tent in your schools. And remember, if you're enjoying the show, please don't forget to give us a 5-star review in your podcast app, as well as to let your colleagues and friends know about and bring them to Teacher Stands. We'll make room for them too. Have a great day.